Hey, good day everyone. Mark from Tahoe, going to do another one of my videos. I sometimes think this is a little bit easier to get a message out to everybody. I'm going to piggyback onto the email that I sent you guys last week about some price increases. And I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about what I know about the state of the industry, at least locally, and what we've got going on and what I see coming down the pipe. So that's kind of what I want to get into on some of these particular things. I'm going to start a little bit about talking about the state of the industry. First of all, so you know, this video is going out to our contract customers. So these are the people that you guys are out there selling and some of the things that we need to make sure we're taking care of. And just so you kind of know what's going on out there. So part of what I do to try to stay in tune, and I'm out quite a bit making sure we're on top, got our fingers on the pulse of what's going on. I did spend 2 days in Long Beach, spoke with a lot of different vendors, a lot of different suppliers in what we've got going on. A very interesting part about Long Beach, MHM, M&R, Javelin, Workhorse, none of the big press companies were out there because presses aren't really being sold at that great of a rate, and I'll explain that to you guys in just a minute. I belong to several blogs that we're able to talk about with some of our suppliers. We've been doing a lot of time talking with them and with some of the equipment we're adding in, which is going to be a video for a different day. We're hearing just a lot of things that are going on, and then just all of us who've been in the industry and know each other, we're able to talk and hear a little bit about what's going on. And as we're calling each other for favors and help, we're just catching a lot of things. What I see happening most right now is our industry seems to almost be on a little bit of an upswing from people who have needs and wants. There seems to be money being spent on what we do from the apparel and ad specialty business right now. However, we really seem to be lacking on the ability to get it produced for multiple reasons. One is, obviously, we all know the back order nightmares that are coming in. When I was in Long Beach, I drove through the harbor. Most amazing thing I ever saw. And that's one harbor in the United States, of dozens and dozens that could be bringing things in. So we're fighting with some of that, the ability to get items. One of the big press suppliers came out, did not come to Long Beach for the plain and simple reason that they said, even if I sold a press right now, I wouldn't be able to get it delivered for over a year. Some of the other reason presses aren't coming out, which is one of the other things we're going to talk about, we're watching our industry shrink from a capacity standpoint of able to print. So what we know is, I'll go to Tahoe real quick. We've managed to stay right where we're at employee-wise. From where we were before COVID. We spent a lot of money. We did a lot of things to keep them involved, to the point where I got myself a little worried about where we were financially. But we've been able to keep all of our employees except one. And that one was more of a helper position. We have yet now I have not been able to fill that. I have not been able to find another embroiderer. I have not been able to find a screen printer. I have not been able to find a salesman. I've not been able to find a CSR or a warehouse person. All things I have been looking vehemently for over the last several months. We're not even getting replies to ads. So it is from an employment standpoint out there, and if you guys are looking for it too, you're finding that. But we've managed to stay where we're at right now, but we've added some equipment to get some of this stuff done too. We did add a new auto. One of the few places that added a new auto. Part of where I got my auto is part of the problem that's out there. To not name names, but to talk about things that I know just here locally and regionally. What I've seen happen is I know 5 or 6 different small embroidery shops that have closed due to COVID. COVID just took them out. As most of you know, COVID took our sporting goods store out, and I know some others who have done that. I know 2 people who have retired have just closed their doors on retirement, didn't try to sell, just closed their doors from retirement. I know a couple of the close region, a couple 100 miles, that have taken big shops and dramatically shrunk their size. I know 2 very local shops that have taken, one went from 10 to 4, the other went from 6 to 3, just locally, and we've replaced that with 2 of us buying an auto. So 2 autos have come back in as just locally. We've lost 9 autos. I know another very good customer about 250 miles away that runs 36 autos in their shop. They have been running for the last year, and I know this because they've been begging me to print for them. They have 36 autos in their shop. They're running 6. And that's due completely to staffing. They don't have enough staffing to run their others. So they're trying to outsource. Now, when we branch out a little farther within 750 miles, there's one guy who has had 3 shops in 3 cities, 2 in the Midwest, 1 in Texas, 50 autos in each. He closed down both of his Midwest shops. 100 autos from his 2 shops left production capability. Another gentleman about 400 miles south of us dropped out 40 autos, closed, went to straight contract screen printing. So what I've just brought up, in just 750 miles from us, a circle that handles a lot of particular things, we've dropped about 170 plus autos out. there are definitely others who have bought, but what I know here in the Twin Cities is 2 of us took new autos and replaced from there. We're not replacing that capacity, and a lot of it's due to the people. So that's the thing. We're really trying to understand that our people, our printers and our embroiderers, are a talented artists. They are good at what they do, and we need to make sure we're compensating them, because I will tell you, my guys are honest to me, and they'll come and tell me, I got a call yesterday that they had a job to do X. I just got a call from my brother, said, go apply at this trucking company. They're starting at $30 an hour and things like that. We need to retain the talent. I've always considered us to be teammates. Help us retain the talents. I will do everything I can. Stop in on a Friday. There's donuts every day and those kind of things. We're doing what we can, but I need to ask your help in making sure we're retaining the talent. So that's a lot of what I see going on between, like I mentioned, from the back orders and the shipping things to retaining talent to so many people leaving the industry and so many presses going out of the industry. How that's changed for us, I will tell you, we have about 35 of you that send us orders on any given day, week, or month that come in as regular customers for us, and have a lot of you have been for a long time. And then we're getting calls daily from Sanmar and SNS and Alpha saying, we've got a customer who's looking for a printer. Can you help? We get calls all the time. I will tell you, one of the national ad specialty companies did call me. I had a lengthy conversation with them. They said if I could give them a bulk of my presses and embroidery machines through June, they would pay me 1.5 times my retail price of what I'm charging. I told them no. I've turned away some 50 and 60,000 piece orders. I've told them all no, because they're not existing customers, and I really want to take care of my existing customers. That's kind of how we are. That's where we've been. That's what's going on out there. We're getting calls daily. I've turned away 10 small shops over the last 2 weeks that have asked me what my capacity is and what I can bring in for them, screen print embroidery. So we're really trying to watch out for you guys, and I need you to watch out for me too. That's what I know about the status of the industry right now. That's kind of what's going on out there. Employees, very difficult. Losing capacity everywhere around us is happening like crazy, and people are buying equivalent, if not more, right now. There's still money being spent out there. Then on top of that, we're starting to see a lot of added value services. Where we used to do a lot of 2-color fronts, we're not seeing just a 2-color front anymore. We're seeing prints in odd places. We're seeing a ton of fulfillment requests. All these particular things that are coming in, we're trying to do it with the same amount of people. I may have said this already, but my staff is averaging 50 plus hours a week right now, and every other Saturday minimum, with some of them have been every Saturday. And we're pushing them pretty hard, and we need to make sure. I think they're liking their paychecks now, and it's winter and there's not a lot of other things going on, but I don't know that we can push them that hard around the clock. So we have to make sure we're working together to be efficient, which we've got some other fun things coming in, some new systems and things like that, but we need to be efficient. We need to be accurate, and we need to make sure we're covering our costs, going back to our customers and making sure things are covered. So that's kind of what I know about the status of the industry right now. One of the other things now I want to go into is the pricing. So I'm not even going to talk about the pricing grids right now. I'm going to talk about the special or added charges we have. And that's really where we've been seeing things get real difficult for us. I believe I mentioned earlier in the video, we've been doing a great job of doing some costing. We've been doing a great job of measuring time and seeing what we can get done and all these particular things to make sure we're staying as efficient as we can. Because with everybody being out of there, that's really what we need to do, is find this efficiency. And we're finding areas where we're not very efficient, and areas where we're actually kind of taking it in the shorts by not making sure things are charged. Now, I am going to have to pass some of that along to you guys, but we need to make sure we're passing it to the customer or finding our shortcuts to stay efficient, not giving less service or quality, but making sure that we're finding efficient ways to get things done. So we don't have a job tying up 2 presses for a full day for you to pull in $300 and me to pull in $400. It just doesn't, it's not helping any of us. So we need to look at some efficiencies. What I'm going to talk about the rest of the video, and I'm going to go through, you'll see me holding my paper, just a line item of what we're putting onto our additional charges. Price list went up 5%. 5% is covering all those extra costs that we have, from tapes, chemicals, inks, all the different things that have skyrocketed up. Heating the building, all those particular things have gone crazy. What I'm paying now to get plowed compared to what I was paying for other years, paying in other years, it's crazy. We have to make sure we're covering those things. But this is going to be where we've seen us kind of getting hit on some of our added time things. And I'm just going to, I'll kind of hold my sheet up, I'll read them, I'll try to give brief explanations where they're there, because it will also give you the opportunity to at least understand why these have to be charged and make sure you're charging them to your customer and you know what you're charging them for. So this should all be out to you within about next few days, probably early part of next week, but I'm going to go through each one of these. So just to take a look at a couple things, and I'm not going to hit each one of them. Screen print names, $4 per line. We still get a lot of look for personalization. Embroidery, a name is a name, to an exception. Mark Aho is a name. I'm not going to charge you for 2 names. Aho at 3 letters versus Galakowitz at 12 letters. That's a name. A name is a name on there. But we are starting to see a lot of people add names. And the way names are done for us is screen printing through a stencil. We cut our own stencils on our laser here, and we get them ready to go. So you're a little limited in your fonts, but what people aren't understanding is we're seeing people take advantage of names where they want to put Mark Aho, world's greatest t-shirt guy. Well, that's 3 lines, and that becomes different, and that becomes a print. So it's $4 a line no matter what you're at, and that's where things have to be a little bit different. We like to screen print our names rather than do vinyl or anything like that. We know it matches the ink that we're doing on there. So there's just one thing I wanted to touch with everybody on. Ink color changes, $7 per ink color change. It's gone up from $6. So yes, the reason that happens, again, it's all about time. If I'm running 100 shirts on one of my autos, I can run that out in about 30 minutes. 20 minutes to set up. We're going with the 2 color. 20 minutes to set up, 30 minutes to run it, 10 minutes to tear down and get ready for the next job. What happens when we have to do screen color or screen changes is whether the screen comes off the press or it's done on the press, we have to scoop all the ink out, get it ready, bring the new ink in, completely clean that screen. We use chemicals that need time to air dry. You can't have the alcohols and the chemicals mixing with the ink. A lot of times there's new tape. Right down to cleaning the screens. So that takes a good amount of time. I just told you we can get that 102 color off an auto out the door in 20, 30, and 10. So in about an hour, we throw in changing a screen. We're going to add another 10 minutes to that minimum. Now we're going to throw in changing 3 or 4 screens. Yeah, drying kind of overlaps itself a little bit, but that job that I was getting done in an hour because I'm changing colors is taking me an hour and 20 to an hour and a half. I need to cover that time. And just fairness for everybody, why does the guy who gets 100 black and the other guy who's asking, or gal, who's asking for all the extra work get the same price when they're taking more time, more energies, and changing our schedule? That's how ink color changes are going to work. One thing you have to remember about ink color changes, which has changed immensely. We used to have 3 whites in our building. 1 for cotton, 1 for poly, and 1 for nylon. David now has at least 12 different kinds of whites that he keeps in the building. We run 3 dryers for the plain and simple fact that depending on what ink is going down which dryer, we have to change our temperatures. So there's all kinds of things that have changed a lot. We're getting a lot of orders that are coming in, but I'm going to go back to the 100 pieces, is 100 pieces of cotton, but then they did their moisture management shirts, and then there's 100 pieces of the moisture management. The ink we use in that 100% poly moisture management is almost every time different than what we're using in the cotton. Based on bleeding, dye migration, all the things that go through there. It's all changed so much. So there we're doing that 2 color now. Oh, and if it's got a backer on it, we're changing all 3 inks, even though the colors of the shirt aren't changing. These are the little things that are taking a lot of time for us, putting us a little behind, and we're realizing when we do our dollar cost averaging of our print prices, we're going backwards when we run those jobs. Again, not going to gouge anyone, but I need to make sure we're charging those fees. So if you have those jobs, now if you're doing a cotton t-shirt to a cotton sweatshirt, and everything stays the same, we're going to run them the same. Just something to think about for ink color changes. Printing on mesh. Pretty quick to talk about printing on mesh. When we print on mesh, it's an additional 25 cents. Make sure you're charging that. And if you don't know and you don't put it on your job sheet, we will add it. You're going to see mesh in a lot of your reversibles, and you're going to see it now in a lot of your safety vests. We're seeing a ton of safety vests. The reason we have to charge more for mesh is when we load that shirt and it goes on, all those little holes, our guys pull the squeegee or the auto pulls the squeegee apart. All that ink goes through those holes and lands on the board. So when we're done printing, generally on safety vests, it's black. You know what I mean? Black on yellow or orange. But we don't get to just print it and pull it off and send it down the dryer. We print it, we send it over, and we have to flash dry it and wait for that to flash dry so that ink dries. So when I pull your garment off, I'm not scraping wet ink across the board. We generally then send it back, dry it one more time. So when we load the clean garment, now that that ink is exposed, the stuff that was on the sides of the mesh, also doesn't drag across and make your garments dirty. So if we're running a 50-piece manual job, us just having to run on mesh ends up taking us a good 25 to 30% more time because we're flashing, even if don't need flash, even if it's black on yellow, we have to flash it. That's why we need to charge for printing on mesh. Special location prints. I'm not going to go through all of the prints and the prices, but they're going to be on the job sheet. We're calling anything here a locker patch, a full back, a short sleeve, all pretty simple. These are things we normally do without special locations. Even if you want to put something down at the bottom of your shirt, if it's straight upright and we're printing that way, those are things we're all able to do. But where we start running into things that you guys may not realize that are going to take additional charges are on or above pocket. I'll explain that one to you in a minute. On a hood, bottom of a leg or a cuff. We had a job 2 weeks ago, 500 pieces, hooded sweatshirts. We knocked out the fronts, 500, in about an hour and a half. Then they needed a print way down by the cuff. So the cuffs were too small to load upside down. We had to load through the arm, board all the way down, flip the screen, run it upside down. That job that we should have another 500 by moving it to manual, that should have taken us another hour and a half based on the price list, 501 colors, right? That job took us 9.5 hours of a press time. What should have been a grand total of about 3 hours took 9.5. We paid our customer to take those shirts. No offense, I don't have I can't pay you guys to take the garments we have. We need to make sure we cover those things. Down a leg or arm, same thing. It prints slower. It's unloaded slower. You've got to be careful on how you print and losing your registration, because if you got just an arm hanging there and this whole part of the garment is dangling below the press, you've got to be careful that you're keeping your registration. Generally requires more tack. Offloading is half the time. We run the press at about half when we're doing down sleeves or down legs, things we're going to have an additional charge for. Pouch pockets. Yes, we may just want this on a pouch pocket, but I can't load a pouch pocket through the top or bottom. I have to turn that garment completely sideways. So even though we're printing this on a crest, now I'm going to shoot that pouch pocket. I have to turn it sideways. I have to load the garment sideways. Screens are shot different. Setup is different. I'm using different boards. Everything is there. More time. We're just covering for our time to go from there. Bicep area of the long sleeve, same thing. I have to shoot it upside down, different than when I'm loading short sleeves. I have to take this, load through the hood, take it all the way down. Now I'm not just finding a line where my sleeve goes. I have to change all my print locations based on size of shirt. Slows everything dramatically down. Guys, we're not trying to gouge anybody again, and you're going to hear me say that 20 times. We're trying to make sure we're covering for the time. Special print locations will be there. If you don't put them on your job sheet, guys, we're going to add them onto the bill. And if it doesn't match the bill, I don't care. We have to cover for what we're getting done for you. PMS color matches. $8 coded only. The one thing you have to understand about PMS matches, and we may get into situations where we need to talk, we are going to match that color in the ink bucket. So now we're going to put it on black poly, and that red you want may show up. We'll back it. We'll do whatever. But it may show up different as it's next to black as it does in a bucket. We've had situations where we've had to take our PMS colors, change it almost 4 or 5 hues to make it look on the garment like it's supposed to look in the bucket. And now we're not even mixing the same amount of ink. The other thing with PMS ink color matches is, just so you know, say I worked at Medtronic before I started this. If we're using the Medtronic blue and we mix it for you, we're not going to charge you every time we mix Medtronic blue. But as we call for ink, special inks, we're going to have them. We're not telling you we're going to keep them for a year or this or that. I've got about $30,000 worth of ink on the shelf right now that I need to start combining a little bit to get my reds into reds. People who don't need PMS colors, we're using red blended up. So we'll watch and see how we go. Again, not trying to overcharge, but want to make sure we're covering for the time. It takes quite a bit of time to mix it, and then we're storing yet another bucket. We're buying buckets. We're doing all these particular things. We're buying more shelves, keeping more shelf space. All that costs, and we just need to make sure we're covering that. So that's PMS color matches. Rush fees. We don't want to charge rush fees. We rarely charge rush fees, but sometimes we have to. Our price lists are made for screen printing or embroidery. That's what we do, is screen print embroidery. That's what we're charging you for. But when we're having to jam things in, and you guys will hear me, I got a guy who will stay late tonight after he's already been here for 10.5 hours. But I'm now paying 1.5 times what I'm charging you regular price for. So if we have to throw in some of them rush fees, to cover what we've got going, or expedited freight, any of those things, rush fees can apply. It's going to be on a per quote basis. Won't talk about the glitter glow in the dark. It's just on there as a price. We've all seen that forever. Back orders and split runs. What's happening right now in the industry is getting extremely difficult. We're seeing a lot of split runs and back orders. Guys, I can't be responsible, and you shouldn't be either. You got to find a way to sell it, but I won't tell you how to sell. But if Sanmar's out and you got an order of 100 shirts and I'm going to run 50 of the smalls and mediums, but I price you out at 100, I'm going to tear that job down. Set it up, run 50, tear it down. Then we're going to come back and I'm either going to hold screens, which with the capacity right now, we don't have time to hold screens. And we've got hundreds. We've added hundreds into our repertoire. But then now it's going to come back and I'm going to set up, print 50 more. So I'm going to have 2 setups, 2 teardowns, and 2 runs. But I'm only charging for 1 run of 100. So we're going to have to make some decisions on this and you're going to have to let us know. But if I'm running your partial back order and then coming back at a later date and running your partial again, we're going to have to make sure we're charging for 2. Or you guys are, I'm not going to tell you how to work with your customers, but we're going to have to make sure we're charging that. It's starting to kick us in the butt quite a bit. Unbagging from the distributor. We are seeing so many things come in individual plastic bags. Almost anything safety will come in an individual plastic bag with at least 2 pieces of tissue paper in there. We last year called for additional garbage pickups almost once a month to unbagging product. And there is a difference when you open a box of 72 t-shirts and you can count those 72 shirts. I open a box of 72 scrubs, which we've been printing a lot of scrubs. Unbagging each one of those, throwing that paper away, generally will take, it don't seem like much, guys, but when you start adding up, 20 to 30 seconds a bag, and then you're picking it all up, hauling all the garbage out, calling for extra garbage pickups, which is a couple $100 every time we do it. It's taking us a lot of extra time. So we're just making sure we cover for that. You guys we will never charge that. The nice part is everything's coming in free to us, so you have to determine where the free freight is worth the extra service. And I know a lot of times you guys won't know it, and neither will we. But again, just because you don't know that these scrubs are individually wrapped or this t-shirt is individually wrapped, neither do we. And I can't be responsible for what my customers don't know or what their suppliers don't tell them. 15 cents a piece coming on, check, taking care of the garbage and the time. Unclaimed garments, this really isn't a priceless thing, but we have so many unclaimed garments that we're digging through bags. A lot of this one piece comes in and you guys have told us, no, just run it without it and this and that. We'll call you and let you know that they're here, but we're starting to see just piles of unclaimed garments. If you got 90 days to pick them up, and we'll do our best to let you know that they're there. But if you don't come and pick them up, we're going to donate them. Right down the street from us is a great company that sends a ton of stuff down to third world countries. They would love these type of things, and we work with a great teen company. So we're going to donate. You got 90 days. It's just on there. Inbound and outbound sorting. This is very difficult, and I apologize. I'm getting up in that 20 minutes. I'm going to show you guys an order that just came in, and I'm not going to say who it's from. We got one order in for 117 items. Each one of these items is individual. And I'm just giving you, there's page 3, there's a little bit of page 4, then there was a color change with, again, 4 more pages, all individual items. Shannon, who does most of our checking in, checked this in for the customer, It was 9 hours and just under 70 different packing slips. All that customer was charged for, and if you know who you are, I'm not picking on you right now, this is just, you're being a great example for me. All that customer was charged for was 117 embroidery applications. In them 117 embroidery applications, then when we were done, they were asked to be folded. Yes, we got our folding fee from that, but I will tell you, we charged about $400 for that job. Do all the embroidery with all of the supplies that goes with it, 9 hours of checking in, which put everyone else behind. We're still sorting this one. We're at almost our 11th hour of sorting and individually bagging because we're supposed to put a sticker on saying that this is the ST660 or whatever it is. We are going backwards at a phenomenal pace, and we are getting behind on everybody else. I've got 2 people working on this. What I'm telling you what's going to happen on some of these inbound things is one of 2. You guys are going to have to take them and do them yourself. We are going to reserve the right to not accept the sorting portion of this order. We will always embroider for you, but you guys need to be prepared. If you're going to send me something that crazy, I mean, I got pictures of the garments on the tables. They're on 4 different tables, just stacks of not knowing what any of these particular things are. And we're pretty good. We know our garments. But we're looking at almost 20 hours of an individual to get one job out the door. I don't have that to give, and I'm not going, I'm not going to. So there are going to be situations. This is going to be the difficult part when these come in, and we're seeing it a lot with online stores. What I say is POs or orders with multiple unique styles, numbers, or colors may or will be charged an additional sorting receiving fee or need to be sorted by you, the customer. Now, if you're sending me one in that's got 50 of these, 50 short sleeve t-shirts and something else, we'll do that. Guys, we don't want to say we're not doing things, but we don't have 20 hours to give away. We don't have the time to get things done that are taking more time and putting everybody else in a hole. So these are going to be things we're going to look at as they come in. You need to either be prepared for us to say you need to come over and sort it. A. B, we have to refuse the sorting portion of this job because it's just not feasible or real. Or C, if we take it on, we're going to take an hourly rate and we're going to bill for our people's time. I need to make a little bit of money on my people's time when they work. So we're going to look at that, and I see that rate being in the 40 or 50 an hour. So we get into that rate. This one, as a perfect, for instance, would have probably been almost a $500 charge for sorting. Now, you may find that that's worth it, and if we have time to do it, we will. We'll work for you wherever we can. We just can't go backwards. So that's what I know about incoming and outcoming sorting on jobs that come in. Spoilage allowance. We're going to 1 piece or 1% of total quantity. So we have to have that. Our guys do a great job, but there's so many things changing in the garments. We don't see screener folds. We don't see some of the things that help them print anymore. So they're doing the best they can. We're seeing oblong necks like this, and then we go ahead and print, and someone's saying it's crooked. Well, we went by the shoulder seams. We went by what we were. We can't be responsible for all of those particular things. Our guys still need to be human in what they do. There still is a human side of things. We will do our best that we can, and we will step up if we make the mistake. But we need to know that if we printed a 2-color front and there ended up being a hole in the back and we didn't know it and your customer returns it, I'm not going to be responsible for resetting that up. That's going to have to be, you guys are going to have to figure that one out and charge our normal charges. We have a way to get that. The new V-Locks, which we'll talk about later, is there. Trying to get done. Folding and bagging is, we've always been 50 cents. I now have 3 different tiers of our folding and bagging. Because I'll tell you straight out, I've been down folding and bagging a large job we have right now, almost 15,000 piece job. We can knock t-shirts out at about $300 an hour. The other day, did hoodies. We were at $60 an hour, charging the same. $60 an hour, we were able to fold and bag, and the bags cost more because they were bigger. At $60 an hour, charging 50 cents, we made $30 for that hour. 2 of us worked on it to get to that $60 an hour. 1 folded, 1 bagged and labeled. We made 50 cents. We made $30 for myself and another employee to spend a full hour. We're going to make sure we're covering our charges on that. So that's where we're going to be. We'll still fulfill where we can. Little extra things that we're going to have on there that I just want to let everyone know there could be some charges for. We've been in this big 15,000 piece. What we don't realize is a t-shirt box comes in with 72 in a box, but all of a sudden we bag them. We're barely fitting 50 back in. I've supplied almost 40-some boxes at paying just under 4. They were bigger ones, just under 4 a piece to get those boxes in. So I'm out another $80, $90. I don't know where that becomes my responsibility. So that's going to be some of the things we're going to have to talk about. Shipping and handling fees, we're going to charge $4 if we ship your boxes out. And we're happy to do it, or call the courier, whatever we have to do to get ready. The reason for this is going to be the time to get it ready, get them all labeled, taped, closed, all the particular things that handle with it. Our charges are going to cover our employees' time, our labels, our tape, and our other packaging supplies. $4 a box, I think, is pretty fair for that one. That's going to be, it's up $1. And then what I want to tell you guys, just to wrap this up, is we're always willing to work with you guys. If there are special bids, there are large times. If we ever slow down and there's slow times, I'll always work with you. There's a difference between running 1,000 pieces on black that's got a full front with 5 colors and 1,000 pieces on white that's just a black crest. We're getting a short stroke. I'll always help you guys get your bids. I think the way I have it in there is special quotes can be generated as needed. Our success comes from your success. We always want to be a part of your team. So those are just the little things. Yeah, I went 30 minutes on this. I'm sorry, but I hope you find it valuable to know what's going on. If you're going to be working in this industry, hopefully it will be. Hopefully it also gives us all the charges that you're going to be at. Again, I can't thank you all for your business. This is a crazy time we're going through. We're trying our best to stay successful ourselves, thus keep you guys successful, remaining the team that we are. I'm sure there's a lot of other things I missed. I'll try to keep my next video shorter. I hope this was a good half hour for you, and we learned a lot. Call me with any questions, concerns. Letting you know March 1st, these are going to happen. If you don't put it on your PO, we're going to put it on the bill, and we're going to expect that it is paid. Share this. Everyone, be cool. Peace.